Hear from one of our own, Beth, as she shares how God has changed her life. So would you welcome Beth?
Hi guys, how are you? I'm just going to share yet another little tidbit of my life. The sermon series is about marriage, so that's what I'm going to talk about. My first marriage was not a very happy one. I was very miserable. Talking to one of my girlfriends, making the comment earlier today about we should have gotten a nominee Grammy for the acting that we did. Just not being real, and that's what I mean by that. So anyways, when I was married the first time, I was married to an alcoholic. I didn't understand what a godly wife looked like. I grew up in church, but I never really understood what that meant. I didn't respect him, and because I didn't respect him, I was really resentful, and I became like this bitter woman at a very young age, which is very draining, by the way. If any of you guys don't know what it's like to be bitter, it's very draining. You lose all your energy. Something that I really liked really quick that my mom said last week, I loved, was she said, your husband's not the problem. You have to remind him, this is the problem, and we're the team. So that's something that, when she said that, I'm like, that's something that I really learned the second time around when God blessed me with my God's best, my husband, who's not here as well. He's sick, so that's okay. He helped me come up with some of these stories I'm going to share with you, so that's our teamwork. For those of you who are not married yet, communication is something that you'll be doing for the rest of your life. That is one of the subjects that's probably going to be hard, and you will never get it right, okay? Like it'll never be, for those of you who are married, you already know, you'll just never get it right. And that's okay, because that's why God has given us each other. A couple years ago, before I met my husband, Tyshawn, I had to choose to work on myself, striving to become a godly woman. I read God's word, I practiced applying his word into my life. And I didn't stop there. I also surrounded myself around a lot of godly women, just so that I could watch and how they were with their husbands, and so that I could learn as well, because apparently it didn't work around the first time. So I really wanted to make sure that if I was going to get married again, I was going to do it right, and I was going to do it wholeheartedly, and I was going to work on that. So with that being said, my husband helped me pick out two little stories, okay, my story and his story. One of his stories is, he calls it his cave when he gets home from work. He used to have his computer in our second room. It's now in the living room area. So his cave is literally like a chair and a computer, and you just kind of have to leave him alone. He goes, okay, I'm going into my cave. Give him about 30, 45 minutes to himself. He'll help you with the dishes. He'll listen to, he calls it the no nagging zone for 35 minutes. Don't nag, I don't want to hear anything for 30 minutes. So that was what he wanted me to share. I've really learned how to do that and allow myself to, then it's easier. I nag a lot less too, I guess, so whatever. He calls it the no nagging zone. My other story is the coffee pot. Oh geez. When we first, we got engaged and we had gotten this coffee thing, and he was over at my house and he was like, you need to learn how to make coffee. The last like 5 years after that, I didn't have a coffee maker. I used instant coffee. And so I was telling him, I don't know how to make coffee. And he looked at me like I was stupid. He's like, you don't know how to make coffee? Everyone knows how to make coffee. So I'm like, okay, well, if it's that easy, I'll figure. 3 hours later, I was crying, and I was like, I think I broke the coffee maker. And when you look, like, the coffee maker, you open it up, and where you put the coffee, like, water was floating in it. And I'm like, what did I do wrong? I didn't put the lid on top of the coffee pot when you, like, put it in for the... Oh, geez. So the whole point about that story is that then after that, when like we got our new house and we were learning how to fix things and stuff, and he'd be like, here, do this. And I'd be like, I don't know how to do that. Can you show me? And he'd say, are you sure you don't want to do that? I'm like, do you remember the coffee pot? And ever since then, the last year, he's like, oh yeah. And so when I reminded him about that, he goes, yeah, the coffee pot story got you a long way, didn't it? So he would learn how to help them. So that's part of communication with us. We like to laugh about it. Actually, it was our 1 year, September 17th. So,
hey,
yeah, I'm really excited about that. God is good. And I just wanted to share a couple verses and then I'm done. With the coffee pot story, it reminds me of Proverbs 14:1. It says, "The wisest woman builds her house, but the folly," which means lack of good sense, "with her own hands tears it down." So that's why I need help with coffee maker. Anyways, 1 Peter 3:1-7 is something that really means a lot to me. I've really learned now, like the second marriage around, and how I got to wait for God's best, what this actually means. So I'm just going to read it to you. It says, "Wives must accept the authority of their husbands. Even if some refuse to obey good news, your godly lives will speak them out without any words. They will be won over by observing your pure and reverent lives. Do not be concerned about the outward beauty, the fancy hairstyles, expensive jewelry, and the beautiful clothes. You should clothe yourself instead with the beauty that comes from within, the unfading beauty of a gentle, quiet spirit, which is so precious to God. This is how the holy of old," which means old women, "made themselves beautiful. They trusted God and accepted the authority of their husbands. Husbands must also give honor to their wives. Treat your wife with understanding as you live together. She may be weaker than you are, but she is also your equal partner in God's gift of new life. Treat her as she should, so your prayers will not be hindered." So, just wanted to share a little bit of that. Coffee maker, you can always remind, if you ever date one day, remember the coffee pot? I hope that you guys will have good stories like that. So thank you for letting me share.